All right, everyone. Welcome back. Another episode of ShiftED podcast. I think we just hit over 80 casts that we've done, which is, again, crazy, but thank you for all you listening out there. Today, I'm gathering in two amazing educators that are Quebec educators from Western Quebec School Board who teach over at PETS. And they have such this great program that I had the opportunity of working with them a little bit not too long ago. And I was like, I'd love to talk to you guys about this program. It is a nature immersion in kindergarten. If you're not understanding my French, it's kids are outside mostly all the time. I think it was 75% you guys had said. And these are kindergarten, so our preschool program kids. So I have Teah and I have Heather here from PETS who run this program. So thanks so much, guys, for coming in and talking to us about this. I'm just so excited about meeting you guys and continuing our kind of this conversation we're having about the importance of taking kids outside.
Yeah, thank you. We love sharing. We love, talking to like-minded people. So that's great.
Excellent. Well, hopefully this is not the last time, but just the third time. And then, so Heather, I'm going to start with you because I think that you started this program kind of on your own when it first started to percolate as something that you were going to kind of do. Can you bring us back in time a little bit and like how did this seed start to grow?
So I would say about 7 years ago, give or take, myself and another colleague in our school, we both really loved being outdoors. We started hearing about different programs that were across Canada. And so we decided that this is something that we wanted to try. So I definitely started with my homeroom. In our program, Teah and I share 2 classes. So I started with when the children were in English class with me. For the full day, I would take them outside for, just a block here and a block there. I would take them out for circle time. Some days I would take them out for calendar time or outdoor center time. So I take the centers outside. But it was very quick because I teach the same children as Teah. Teah jumped on board really quickly and saw the benefits of the outdoor programming with the students, with the children. And it is a lot easier to do when there's 2 of you as a team, just physically, logistically carrying things outdoors and making sure there's more than one adult with the class, if someone needs to run into the washroom, that sort of thing. But also for the children, having the same kind of routine and expectations in both English class and French class just made it all run so much more smoothly their whole week. Yeah,
Yeah, totally. And Teah, what was your early interest in like saying, hey, I want to hop on board here with Heather and what she's doing? Like, what was your mindset that really influenced that choice that you made?
I've always been an outdoor kid. I was always outdoors. I was one of those leave in the morning, come back whenever we were hungry sort of families. So the outdoors didn't scare me at all. I would say, you just see the benefits. The kids are happy. You're able to do all the same things that you're doing indoors, the same kind of types of lessons, the same subjects, but with a lot more movement, a lot more fun. I would say as a new teacher, that can be intimidating because it at that time was not the norm at all. And the people who took me under their wings when I first started teaching were a lot more traditional. And so that's how I was teaching for the beginning of my career. But to see like, oh, wait, that looks a lot more fun. I'd like to do that. It worked out really well. We were a good match.
Right. And have been doing this together now for like, how many years are we talking now? Like,
since 2017. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I know that I've heard of you guys before. There are echoes of, because we do a lot at Learn with outdoor learning and preschool, right? And preschool, I guess my question is the philosophy of the new preschool program, right? I guess it's maybe 4 or 5 years old now at this point.
Yeah.
And the real focus on that play, right? To get them out exploring and developing their whole self. How does that feed into outdoor, just that philosophy of playing in our program? How does that transfer outside?
So I mean, as we said, we started before the new curriculum was written, but it definitely, we started growing our nature immersion program by using, some of our professional development budgets and classroom budgets for outdoor materials and tools, right? So that was something that we had to do over the years to build up our program. And then when the new curriculum was presented to teachers, we saw that it had a mandatory 2 45-minute play blocks, one of which should be outdoors, all of that with the homeroom teacher. So it's not sending them out with a supervisor. And we saw that a lot of the observables listed under the competencies, the cognitive one in particular, were, to us, sounded like they were directly related to being outdoors. There's examples directly from the preschool section of the QEP, like discovering the elements around them, manipulating sand and water and mud, being curious about natural phenomena, seeing things change over time. So through the seasons or plants growing, the list goes on. During the training, we had to sit and be trained on how to teach the new curriculum. And for us, we just kept looking at each other and going, okay, check, we're doing all this. This is great. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. The new program, it really validated what we had been practicing over for the few years already. I think it really helped, though, change the perspective of learning outdoors as a fringe or a niche teaching style. I think it helped for the philosophy to spread through the schools. I feel it gave the permission for educators and administration to allow time to schedule time and maybe even designate resources in ways that can support this style of learning, which maybe wasn't happening before. We definitely still have a long way to go before we can call it mainstream, here in Quebec, but awareness and interest is definitely growing. We're always getting people who have questions for us and want to visit us. And we're always like, yes, for sure. Come on over. Yeah.
That's it. I guess seeing is believing as well, right? Like until you experience it, it's hard to be like, I'm going to go outside and we're going to do what? Like, is it going to be a recess again? Is it like lunch? When it's totally not that at all, right? It's like you are using the outdoors as your classroom rather than let's go sit on stumps and do some worksheets, right? Or, whatever it might be. What do you guys feel the most misconception is about doing this? Or the biggest hesitation that a teacher might be like, I don't, like, it seems like outdoors has kind of started to seem as this wilderness, like this unknown, scary, like we have to be weary about it. What are some of those mentalities that kind of feed into that are not accurate based on what you guys have experienced?
Yeah, it's funny. There are different perspectives. Some people will say, well, why bring learning outdoors? It's cleaner, it's more controlled, it's all my materials are in the classroom. It seems really intimidating to bring it outside. Other people have the perspective of, well, it's just playtime and I can't waste my teaching time on bringing them outdoors just to play, or that it's easy and only possible in kindergarten and preschool because it's play-based. I would say, you're saying worksheets at stumps. Sometimes that is what we're doing. Sometimes it is just our regular worksheets and evaluations that we're doing on our stumps outdoors. And in those types of activities that any grade level could do, we've done the exact same type of activity indoors and outdoors. And the children almost always just do better outdoors with the exact same activity. Mm-hmm. And we've tried to, voice that. But, we have the mindset of you can't convince anybody who's not ready. And they'll all come around at their own time if that's their journey, Yeah. Yeah. I do find, that we definitely, when we're teaching outdoors, it allows us to add more movement. It allows us to add more, big voices or being silly. You don't have to worry about the teacher that's teaching next to you. Well, I do, because Teah still, we still have 2 classrooms outside, but it allows for us and the children to just get totally engrossed in the play, in the teaching, and be silly with each other. And that allows us to make connections with the children right from the get-go. And I just, it's so beneficial for the children and for us that it's, we love it.
Yeah, totally. And like, I know that a lot of our program is based on this observation, right? We have to observe our kids in play to see where they kind of are at. Does it change? Does that shift a little bit compared to like, indoors versus outdoors? Like, do you see more of a kid developing than you would inside or outside? Is there any kind of connection you can make there?
Yeah, well, honestly, everything is easier to observe outdoors, and it requires less prep from us to artificially create the opportunities. We bring them to the forest and, they're climbing and they're balancing and they're jumping from rock to rock, and we get to observe their gross motor skills. They're aware of their space when we say sticks need space, so they're not hurting anybody or themselves. Moving between, a high energy to low energy activities. We do sit spots or magic spots every day, a full 10 minutes where they're just using their senses to experience. We very clearly can see who's able to sit, who's able to kind of relax in that moment, or who still is very busy. The safety awareness, neighborhood safety, knowing what to do if an animal or a stranger walks through the forest, like somebody walking their dog sort of thing, crossing the street when there's lights or no lights. These are all things from the curriculum. And as we said before, the social emotional development can easily be observed when you're outside anywhere. It could be at the outdoor classroom or the forest, which we do both. We have an outdoor classroom and we take our children to the forest every day. One example of social emotional is we do a sharing circle at the end of our forest time, where the children can talk about challenges, they can talk about successes, we help them with language if they need it, to be able to recognize and communicate how they feel. For example, one of the things we do is at closing circle, they're allowed to bring a rock, a leaf, or a stick back to the circle. And so if they brought a rock, they tell us something that rocked in the forest. If they bring a stick, something that will stick with them from the forest. And if they bring a leaf, then they have to tell us something that they want to leave behind in the forest. Maybe something that didn't go quite as well. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, being outside allows for open-ended, and it allows for the open-ended environment, so the children can make choices that are based on their own interests, right? They can explore their strengths, their challenges, and they do that naturally. There's, easily differentiation happens easily outdoors. We see them resolving conflict. We see how they can adapt or not adapt their behaviors to so many different situations. They ask questions. They're always, their language, they're always talking about something new or unexpected that they just saw. Or stretching sentences. Yeah, stretching sentences, right? So maybe, I saw a flower, right? Or, then we stretch it. Oh, what color was the flower? What shape, so we just, and it's physical for them. It's something that they can put their hands on. So, especially like second language. Yeah. I've always had children say, I don't speak French. I don't know what you're saying. I don't do that. But since we've been going to the forest, I see it a lot less. Or even those children that do start with that, mindset, they'll still say, "Oh, Annie Curie." Yeah. Like they're still spontaneously remembering and using the words, and I just get so excited about that. and we bring writing outdoors as well. So we have nature journals that we take to the forest, and that allows the children to just spontaneously, they're allowed to get their nature journals anytime they want when they're in the forest. And so we see spontaneous writing. We see them trying to, do beginning sounds, they're listening for the sounds because they're going off and they're doing their own nature journals with their own interests. So we're not directing that, but they are learning on their own. And it's, they notice the environmental texts around them. So if we're walking to the forest, we point out signs, we point out the letter of the day, we point out sounds,
the numbers on the houses.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is all part, everything we do is part of our teaching.
Yeah.
Even the walk.
Right.
Yeah. And then, of course, the problem solving and using the tools like magnifying glasses and all those are all things directly from the curriculum. And, it's just constantly happening around us without that much prep. We just need to catch them doing it and record it.
Right. Which is a job in itself, right? Because you're navigating a lot out there, I imagine, just because of the space that you have, that the kids have available to them. But I mean, it sounds so like what nature intended kids to be like when this whole world started of ours, that, nature will make your kids grow up and they'll learn about themselves and you don't have to do anything. And we kind of like interjected ourselves in there and said, no. We have to tell them everything. We got to show it. And like, I don't think that was nature's master plan. But no, we have to have teachers that tell us everything because we don't know anything. How do you have that mindset or that this is how kids grow? And then you go and see what happens after kindergarten. And then in grade 1, in grade 2, in grade 3. I guess my question is there a better transition that we can do so that kids can still keep playing after preschool?
Mm-hmm. That is where we run into a challenge.
And I think it's a tricky question, right? I mean, everyone is, we like to say, everyone is on their own journey.
Yeah. So one has their own comfort level.
Yeah. Like it's hard to put our journey on, say, a teacher next door, a teacher, I mean, our journey started 7 years ago, right? So this is where we are is not necessarily where other people are going to be. So we really do try not to put our journey onto others. We try to help others see the benefits of our journey.
And it really does depend on the teachers. There are teachers of all grade levels that'll come ask if they can join us in the forest or ask for an idea because they know we've probably tried something before that they're interested in. We do have, staff in the school that are willing to facilitate these things with different classes if they're interested. Our principal is really interested in it also. So whenever somebody else shows even like a little opening, they'll really try to get in there, support them too and offer whatever they need. It's, it is tricky. We take it where we can. I think field trips, maybe not the day-to-day, but special activities. We have, a teacher in our school right now that's doing worm composting, which is, one step that way. So
your little's finding worms, no doubt. We'll find the worms. Don't worry, we're out there. We got them. We know where they are.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Although I think anybody who's interested tries to find how they can work it into their own class and their own teaching style. Scheduling is a challenge too. If you have 4 different an English teacher, a French teacher, a math teacher, we have the privilege of being with our littles all day, every day, between the two of us. So our schedule can be really flexible. If we're rushing back to get to a phys ed class or rushing to get to their French class or, as other grades do, I can see how that would be more challenging. Not impossible, but more challenging.
Totally. I like that phrasing for sure. And how do you guys, what are parents' reactions? I know that there's 2 kind of hurdles that you got to get over to get going with this. First, your admin has to believe in you and what you're offering. Does that also transfer over to parents, or are parents pretty well convinced at this point that they see the benefit and they encourage it? Or do you ever have any like, ooh, well, what if my kid wanders off? Or what if, like all those stranger danger and, this regression we kind of have with our relationship with nature? How do you guys navigate those?
We do get those questions. The one thing about our program is that the parents tell us their preference when they register for kindergarten. They say they can choose, they will not choose the program, but they can let us know what they prefer, and then classes get built kind of based on that. So anybody who's in our class, or most of them, already knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, we also,
We do have other classrooms that
do have other classrooms that,
less outdoors.
yeah, but our classrooms, we often get the families, right? So we've been teaching kindergarten for many, 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 many years between us. So we've had, the joy of having families come through us, right? So, maybe 5 years ago, we started with one of their children, and then now we're on to child number 3 for some of them, right? So they specifically know our program already. They choose our program. I mean, we haven't had to worry about selling our, saying, oh, this is, saying our benefits are of our program, because I feel that, word of mouth has really helped with our program. Parents, from what I can gather, parents are quite happy with us. We always have waiting lists for our program. When a couple years ago, we had parents line up for our program before registration even, was open. So we definitely, I feel that the parents are definitely on board.
Yeah.
They trust us.
We're very new. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're very transparent with everything we do. For new families, though, I mean, risk assessment and safety is definitely important to us.
Yes, it's our number one priority out there. We definitely, I can give you examples of what we do to help ourselves, but also the parents, get trust in us and our program. We definitely, in our forest and in our schoolyard, we've gone through it. We know all the we've Googled, we've, learned, we researched all the names of the different plants, the trees, the mushrooms, the berries, the insects, all of the bugs, all of those things that we might find in those 2 areas. We have researched them. We know what will happen. What if a child eats this berry? What if a child touches this mushroom? We don't want it to happen, and we have rules in place. But what if, right? So we do have all of that. We know all of that. We have taken wilderness first aid, which is just a step beyond the basic first aid.
Yeah, it's more like the hypothermia and, injuries that are
Falling from a tree.
Yeah.
Right. So we have that on top. We are very, like I said, safety first. So one of our main safety protocols is the children have to react right away to when we want them back. So what we do is we use a wolf call. We don't whistle. We don't, we've chosen a wolf call. So we do howl, and the children know that they are to return to us right away. And we work on this from day one, like August, the end of August, we are taking our children to the forest. We don't do it gradually. We do it right off the bat. And we build they build trust in us, and we build trust in them through all of these practices. So they know that they have to return to us quickly when that wolf call happens, for their safety and our safety,
They know the boundaries are very, very clear.
Yeah. The rules. So like if you're climbing a tree, how many body parts? We always say 3 or more body parts on a tree.
To listen to your tummy. And listen to my tummy.
Yes.
Because you might be okay there, but I might be feeling nervous about it.
Yeah. And, we take walkie-talkies with us that keep us connected to our school. We have our cell phones, which, our administration can always reach us on, and we can reach them if anything were to happen. We bring our first aid bags with us every day. Any EpiPens or that kind of thing that we need is always on us. We have tags on our bags, our first aid bags, to tell us, even though we know it, the address of our school and the address of our forest.
Or the closest cross section.
Yeah.
So that just in case we had to make an emergency call in the panic of the situation, it's all very clearly listed.
All laid.
It makes us feel more comfortable. We feel safe out there. We're very familiar with the space. We have somebody do a safety walkthrough before we release the children into the forest.
And that's every day, right?
Yeah.
So we check the forest. We do a risk assessment every day, every single day. And we do a risk assessment not only of the area, but of the tools that we're going to use. So if we have our loose parts out, we are doing a risk assessment on those loose parts every day.
Make sure there's no nails sticking out, anything to be entered. And I think just like being really consistent with all of those things creates a sense of safety for the children, for us. It's predictable. And And then we work really hard also with families to create connection with them. We do, homeschool communication regularly, of course. We send them photos so they see what they're up to. We invite families in about once a month or every other month for a kindergarten family activity, like a game night sort of thing. And so we're not just people on the other end of an email. We're like actual human beings that they trust to take care of their children.
And we're always very open. We tell them, reach out to us. If it doesn't matter how big or how small, reach out to us. We're here for you. We're here. We want, and we try. We work really hard at trying to, and we like to think that we do build a community within our 2 classrooms, with the families that they can talk to. They get to know each other and they get to help each other. And we love to see that. We love our 2 classrooms with all the parents in them and getting to know each other and play dates. Everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A real culture, creating a culture around taking your kids out and letting them play and yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, sorry, one more thing. Something else that I do is I try to do monthly or every other month, I do family projects with them. So it's like their homework. They go out, I send a monthly project home with them, and my monthly projects are family based. So it allows them, and it's always got an outdoor theme to it. So one of them is a scavenger hunt, and then they bring it back to class and they present it. One is a walking stick. So they have to go on a walk with their moms and dads or whoever it is. And they create a walking stick and then they tell us about the whole walk. I do, create a snowman outside with your family, take a picture of it, create one on paper together, bring it in. What do you like to do on the holidays? What's your favorite outdoor activity during the holidays? So we really build the outdoors into we try to build it into their family life as well.
Yeah. And we've heard feedback from families saying how that's shifted their family life too. They'll tell us, usually we would sit and watch a TV show after dinner, and now they're asking us to go for a little walk instead because they want to show us something. Or, I expected them to ask for this toy or this video game for their birthday, but they asked for a bug catching kit.
Yeah.
So I think it really is creating a culture and shifting.
Absolutely. And do we not need that more than ever right now? I mean, kids have never been outside less than ever in the history of humanity. So kudos. Guys, I guess my last question, and again, thanks so much for taking some time. You're so inspiring, and I just love your energy and how this was you built this. It's not something that just happens. You got to create a culture. You got to create a routine where, all of these things come into play. What kinds of things do you tell teachers that are kind of like, have that little seed, but it needs a little watering, a little caring to get it to start sprouting about? It seems like I want to try to do this. Like, what are some of those little things that you tell teachers of how to kind of get started? What should we be aware of? What do I have to do? Like, I mean, without describing, your whole journey, which is amazing, but like, what are some of those little salient things that kind of start to get that seed to sprout?
Yeah. So, I think first of all, we want to say that it's not all or nothing. You can start small. And that's how we did it. We started small. We didn't say, oh, let's do 3/4 of our day for 7 years ago. We built up to that, right? It's start small. It's not, don't think it's a bad thing that, oh, I only got out once this week. No, that's awesome. You got outside once this week. Change that attitude of, no, that's wonderful. That's amazing. You got them outside once for, measurement maybe, or, whatever it is that you took them out for. It can be a math lesson. It can be a story. It can be anything. Just get that one lesson outside and just to start, just to get your feet wet.
Yeah. And then it takes the scary part away, right? And you don't need a forest. I mean, our forest is really just an overgrown piece of land, but we call it our magical forest and the children believe it. It can be a part of your schoolyard. It could be a soccer field down the street. It can be kind of any little green space that you have in your community.
Yeah. If you make learning magical, if you're theatrical, if you're delivery, if you make it exciting, the children believe all of that, right? And they want to learn, they want to believe in that magic. If you tell them that you're going on an expedition through the 100-acre woods, that they believe that, right? If you tell them that there's fairies in this forest and that it's magical, they believe that. And it's just the joy and the magic that we really, really, really like. Yeah.
And for anybody who's nervous too, the children have no idea what your plan was.
Yeah.
So if it goes totally awry, just roll with it and they don't know any difference, right?
Right. That's right. I love that. Well, guys, this has been really so amazing. I was really looking forward to chatting, and you guys have kind of like opened up some doors again in my own thinking about outdoor. And so I really appreciate your thoughtfulness and exuberance about doing this, this style of teaching where the kids are out engaging with nature. I wish you all the best continuing with this program. I will definitely spread as many words as I can about you guys, because I think that it's really, really important, and that if we could keep talking about it, that more and more might be like, I'll give it a try. Because it's not all that scary, right? It's much more scary when you're thinking about it and like never done it before. And then when you're in it, it's like, yeah, all right, let's go.
Yeah. It actually gets a lot easier.
Yeah, totally. Well, thanks so much.
We're very passionate about what thank you for letting us talk. We're very passionate. We love what we do. And we're sure there's lots of people out there who are just thinking about it that'll find 7 years from now that they love what they're doing too.
Absolutely. And I'll share more information with the listeners so you can have you get a little bit more of a deep dive about what they do, because they have tons of great ideas and resources that we'll share, and some other little treats we'll put on the blog post as well for this episode. So again, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.